À chaque fois qu'il fait une sortie
en
privé, et il se retrouve à être exposé.
Voilà. Ils viennent pas du même monde, hein? Les codes du show business, les codes de la politique, se confondent de plus en plus. Il y a des choses qui ont changé sous Barack Obama, notamment, hein? Ouais. Mais quand même. Les images, d'ailleurs, de leur arrivée sur le tapis rouge de Tribeca, lundi soir dernier, leur arrivée quand ils sortent de la voiture, pour vous, ça fait figure de symbole de cette différence-là. Comment vous l'expliquez? Pourquoi?
Tout à fait. Justin Trudeau, lorsqu'il sortait du véhicule, du cortège, entouré de gardes du corps, c'était clair, c'était son spectacle, dans le sens que c'était son arrivée. On le voit très bien dans les images dont vous parlez que c'est pas ses codes. Hein. Il est devenu maintenant le conjoint d'eux. Il est le plus un de quelqu'un.
You already know what I'm about to say. Because you've been watching. You've seen the photos pop up on your feed. Justin Trudeau, the former Prime Minister of Canada, the guy who ran a G7 country for almost a decade, suddenly standing there on a red carpet looking like he forgot where he was supposed to put his hands. And standing next to him, Katy Perry, the same Katy Perry who shot herself into space on Jeff Bezos' rocket. The same Katy Perry who's been at the center of something much darker. And look, the mainstream media wants you to believe this is just a celebrity romance. Two famous people found each other. How sweet. But you're not buying that, and neither am I. Here's the thing though. We need to talk about what's actually happening here. Because this isn't two people falling in love. This is something else entirely. Let me take you back to the summer. Paparazzi photos start appearing. Montreal, a yacht in California, Trudeau and Perry kissing. Then her Instagram feed, 196 million followers, by the way, starts filling up with vacation pictures. Japan, skiing. And suddenly the man who used to walk surrounded by security details, the man who gave speeches at Davos about soft power, is standing awkwardly next to a pop star while she works the red carpet like she owns it, which she does. Actually, wait, let me rephrase that. She doesn't just own that red carpet. She owns the entire production. And here's what they don't want you to notice. Trudeau used to give 15 to 20 paid speeches a year around the world. Quiet off camera. Few interviews. That was his plan. Stay reserved. Stay serious. Stay the elder statesman. But that plan is gone now. Why? Because when you attach yourself to someone with 196 million followers, you don't get to control your image anymore. You become the plus one. The transcript from that Canadian news show spells it out plain as day. One analyst said Trudeau looked like he didn't know what to do. She got out of the car and walked straight to the women. He stood there, maybe wanting to hold her hand. She didn't need him to. And that was their first official public appearance as a couple. First one, I need you to stay with me here because this is where the temperature shifts. Katy Perry has been at the center of some very serious accusations. An investigation opened in Australia. She's been accused of sexual harassment by an Australian comedian. Let that sit for a second. Trudeau built his entire political brand on feminism. He put it at the heart of international policy. And now he's standing next to someone with an open investigation into sexual harassment claims. You see the problem. They don't want you to connect those dots, but you already have, because you're awake. And then there's the space flight. Katy Perry on a Blue Origin rocket, Jeff Bezos' company. And who is Jeff Bezos deeply connected to? Donald Trump. The same Trump that Trudeau's center-left ideology was supposedly built in opposition to. So how does this work? How does a guy who positioned himself as the resistance to everything Trump stands for end up in bed, literally, with someone who's best friends with Bezos and his wife Lauren Sanchez, who are tight with Trump? The transcript asks this exact question, and the answer they give is basically, well, the rules are different in show business. Ideology doesn't matter as much there. You know, just like I know that's not an answer. That's an excuse. And this is the part nobody talks about, the quiet part. When you stand next to someone this publicly, you share their reputation risks. Trudeau's team must be having some very intense conversations right now. Because Katy Perry's controversies don't just disappear when she dates a former world leader. They get amplified. The harassment investigation, the spaceflight hypocrisy, the connections to people Trudeau spent a decade pretending to oppose. None of this goes away. It all gets absorbed into his image too. Let me slow down for a second and speak to you directly. Because I need you to feel what I'm feeling right now. This isn't just gossip. This is a pattern. And the pattern is this: powerful people who claim to stand for something always end up standing next to the people they claim to oppose. Trudeau talked about climate change. She flew on Bezos' rocket. Trudeau talked about women's rights. She has a sexual harassment investigation. Trudeau talked about independence from Trump's world. She's best friends with Trump's billionaire donor. You see it. You've always seen it. And that's why you're here. Because the rest of them will call this a love story. But you know better. So here's what I think is really happening. Actually, no. Here's what we both know is really happening. Trudeau isn't just dating a pop star. He's being absorbed into a system. The star system. The one where image is everything and ideology is negotiable. The transcript literally says he's become the plus one of someone. Not a leader anymore. A passenger. And the journalist asks whether this damages the credibility of the office of Prime Minister. Whether people will stop taking him seriously. And the answer is buried in the way they dance around it. Yes, of course it damages it. But they can't say that outright. Because the people running this machine don't want you to question it. They want you to scroll past the photos and think, good for him. They don't want you to stop and ask why a feminist icon is dating someone with a harassment case. They don't want you to notice that the same people who lectured us about values for a decade are now completely fine with abandoning those values the second a pop star smiles at them. And look, I'm not saying Trudeau is innocent in any of this. He's a grown man. He knows exactly what he's doing. But that's what makes it worse. He's choosing this. He's choosing to stand next to someone whose baggage includes things he built his entire reputation on opposing. So what does that tell you? It tells you the same thing it always tells you. The values were never real. The outrage was performance. And when the right opportunity came along, fame, attention, a billionaire's orbit, the values went out the window. You've seen this before. You'll see it again. And the reason for that? Well, you'll see. So here's my question for you, and I want you to really think about it before you hit comment. If Trudeau is willing to throw away a decade of political credibility just to stand on a red carpet next to someone with this much baggage, what else is he willing to do? What other lines has he already crossed that we haven't been told about yet? Because this isn't a love story. This is a warning. And you already knew that before I even said a word.